I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Highland Park, Illinois, December 15th, 2025. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Center.
Present.
Councilmember Bruckman. Here. Councilmember Ross. Here. Councilmember Tapia.
Present.
Councilmember Littlewer.
Here.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
Here.
Mayor Rodring.
Here. Councilmember Tapia, it's hard to hear you, so if you could speak a little more loudly. And I will ask you the question that I asked previously concerning your identity. What is the best sport known to man?
Yeah, the sport is coming to the World Cup here in the USA in the summer of 2026, football.
I think we can conclude that that is Councilmember Tapia. Is everyone okay with him joining us electronically?
Yes.
Is there any way to turn up the volume?
We can find out.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And with that, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the City Council held November 4th, 2025, and the minutes of the closed session of the regular meeting of the City Council held November 24th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes are approved. May I have a motion to approve the warrant list?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions on the warrant list? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center.
Aye.
Councilmember Bruckman. Aye. Councilmember Ross. Aye. Councilmember Tapia.
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
Aye.
Mayor Rodring.
Aye, 7 ayes, no nays. The warrant list is approved. We now continue to the report of the mayor. Before we continue our business this evening, I want to pause and acknowledge the profound grief following the tragic shootings this weekend at Brown University in Rhode Island and at Bondi Beach in Australia. On behalf of the City of Highland Park, we extend our deepest condolences to the victims, their families, and to everyone whose sense of safety has been shaken. Here in Highland Park, this is especially close to home for very many reasons, and we know that there are students from our community at Brown University, many of whom were finishing finals or preparing to return home for winter break, and we're grateful that they're safe. To the families of Brown students, to students across the country, to young people everywhere who are carrying the weight of moments like these, please know that you are not alone. Communities far beyond campus walls are holding you, your families, faculty, and staff in our thoughts, and standing with you as you navigate fear, uncertainty, and grief. You deserve to learn, to grow, to celebrate life's milestones without the shadow of violence. At this time, the motive behind the shooting at Brown is not yet known, and it's important to be thoughtful and responsible as facts emerge. What is clear is that violence, whether here in the United States or across the world, leaves lasting harm far beyond the immediate moment. This moment of shared grief is also deeply personal for our Jewish community here in Highland Park and around the world, especially for members of North Suburban Lubavitch Chabad Central Avenue Synagogue, as Rabbi Eli Schlenger, head of the Chabad mission in Bondi, was among those who were killed. To Jewish families in Australia and to our Jewish neighbors here at home, we see you, we stand with you, and we grieve with you. This week, as Hanukkah is observed, a time rooted in resilience and the enduring power of light, that message feels especially meaningful. The symbolism resonates. In moments of fear and darkness, light must shine brighter than hate or despair. As a city, we remain firm in our commitment to condemning anti-Semitism and all forms of hate and to standing against violence in any form. We're also mindful of the sobering reality that many young people today know exactly what to do when violence occurs. That reality should give us pause, and it should remind us as our responsibility as leaders and as a community to continue to work towards a safer and more compassionate world. I ask that you join me now in a moment of silence in memory of the victims. Thank you. May we continue to support those who are grieving and reaffirm our shared commitment to peace, dignity, and care for one another. The next item under report of the mayor is appointments. The City of Highland Park has 17 commissions, boards, and advisory groups with resident volunteers who are appointed by the mayor with the City Council's consent. These organizations were formed to provide guidance to the City Council and to adhere to existing municipal regulations. We appreciate each person's commitment to our community and willingness to share their time, talent, and expertise with us. Tonight's slate of advisors is presented as part of tonight's omnibus agenda, items 8 and 9. And I just want to say in advance, thank you to all who have volunteered to serve. We have no proclamations this evening. I do have one other piece of other business. On December 3rd, I traveled to New Orleans to accept an award on behalf of the City of Highland Park at the North American Mayors Summit Against Anti-Semitism. This was a collaborative forum for nearly 200 mayors from the United States and Canada to learn from one another, share best practices, and develop real practical strategies to confront anti-Semitism and to protect our residents. It was truly an honor to represent Highland Park in that setting. This recognition belongs to our entire community, and it reflects appreciation for Highland Park's longstanding, unwavering stance against anti-Semitism. Before I share the remarks I delivered, I want to take a moment to recognize the people who made this honor possible. I want to offer a special thank you to Councilmember Annette Litterer, whose thoughtful leadership and advocacy were essential in bringing the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism forward. Her dedication helped ensure that our city sent a clear, principled message at a moment when moral clarity mattered. This work has always been a team effort, grounded in collaboration, care, and a united commitment to the safety and dignity of all residents. I'm equally grateful to our current and former city councils, whose steady support and shared commitment to our values made this possible, and to the volunteers and staff who helped draft our statement against hate and our values statement. Together, these two documents powerfully articulate our community's priorities and commitments. I urge you to take a look at the city's website where they're available. They say who we are, they say what we believe in, they say what we stand for, they say what we condemn. It's important for all of us to be on the same page, and I'm confident you will agree with us. Excuse me. As a city, we're also grateful for the continued partnership of neighboring communities throughout the North Shore and across the Northwest suburbs who have joined us in standing firmly against anti-Semitism, especially those who co-signed our letter recognizing that anti-Semitism is a public safety concern that requires a unified and regional response. And finally, I want to acknowledge the many community members, far too many to name, who lent their voices, their experience, and their encouragement through our darkest days. Your engagement shaped our path. Your courage continues to guide us. So with that, I'm going to share the remarks I delivered in New Orleans that I offered on behalf of all of Highland Park. And they come as follows. Thank you for this extraordinary honor. I'm humbled to stand here tonight among leaders, advocates, and partners who share a commitment to confronting anti-Semitism and building stronger, safer, more compassionate communities across North America. To give you some background, my hometown, Highland Park, Illinois, is a small city north of Chicago with a long and proud history where Jewish families, including my own, have been an essential part of that story for generations. They helped build our institutions, shaped our civic life, and wove their traditions and values into the cultural fabric of our community. Their contributions have enriched us all. Their values of learning, community, and resilience run deep in the soil of Highland Park. When our city endured mass gun violence on July 4th, 2022, it was not an act of anti-Semitism, but it left us shaken and vulnerable. We were suffering with an open wound, still healing, and just as we began to regain our footing, the horror of October 7th, 2023 struck the Jewish world with the trauma reverberating directly into Highland Park. It was not something that happened far away. It reached directly into our families, into our friendships, and into our hearts. 2 years later, that grief is still raw. We continue to hold close the memories of those who were taken, including Hirsch Goldberg Poland, whose parents were raised in the Chicago area before moving to Israel, and whose cousins live in our community, and of Itai Seif, who spent time in Highland Park through our sister city's youth delegation. As a teenager, he stayed in our homes, shared meals with our families, and built friendships that lasted for years. Their stories are part of our story. Their loss is part of our loss. Highland Park responded in the only way we know how, by coming together. We prayed together, we mourned together, we wrapped our arms around families navigating unthinkable uncertainty. As a city, we recognized the pain and horror of the hostages and their families before every city council meeting, and we formally designated October 7th as a day of remembrance and solidarity with our Jewish community, a promise that the victims, the hostages, and their families are never forgotten. Even as we cared for one another, though, we could not ignore a larger truth, the rise of anti-Semitism, not only abroad, but here in the United States. It appeared subtly and overtly in our schools, in our public spaces, on our streets, and online. For a community still recovering from mass violence, this rise has felt particularly distressing. Highland Park has always been a city built on principles of inclusivity, tolerance, and respect. Anti-Semitism or any form of discrimination goes against everything we believe in and everything our residents deserve, as we have done every time it raises its ugly head. We take action in our own town and regionally, cognizant that our communities are stronger when we stand together to defend our shared values. We strengthen securities around the houses of worship, and we deepen communication with our clergy. We sought expert guidance and became one of the first communities in the country to receive training specifically developed by the Department of Justice to enhance trust and support of Jewish communities and law enforcement. Regionally, we implemented proactive measures to promote vigilance and public safety by partnering with neighboring communities who join Highland Park in condemning anti-Semitism and all acts of hate through information sharing, joint training, and shared public safety dispatch. And we became the first city in Illinois to formally adopt the IHRA, working definition of anti-Semitism by ordinance. We did this not to silence debate, but to draw a clear moral line and to affirm to every Jewish resident, we see you, we stand with you, and we will do whatever we can to protect you. My own understanding of this responsibility was shaped profoundly by someone many of you may have known, the late Rabbi Peter Noble. He was a dear friend and a mentor, and his wisdom remains with me every day. He often spoke of what he called activist Judaism, a Judaism that does not stay inside the sanctuary, but steps into the public square. He believed faith should ruffle us from our complacency, pushing us towards justice, compassion, and courage. He reminded us that religious and civic leaders alike must speak truth to power, insisting that those in authority, including ourselves, do what's right. His teachings were not theoretical. They were a blueprint to act with moral clarity, to reject silence in the face of hatred, and to lead with compassion strong enough to cross every divide. I carry that with me, and I carry him with me. Combating anti-Semitism cannot rest on proclamations alone. Education, advocacy, and action are essential to building the kind of society our children deserve. Teaching empathy, respect, and understanding from an early age stops hatred before it takes root. Community programs that promote dialogue and intercultural exchange help bridge divides and build social cohesion. Empowering young people to be informed, compassionate citizens is one of the most meaningful investments any community can make. So I said in New Orleans, tonight as I accept this recognition, I do so on behalf of the people of Highland Park, the parents and the grandparents, the students and the teachers, the faith leaders, the first responders, the volunteers, and so many others who have shown up time and time again, that community is strongest when we show up for one another. They are the reason that I was in New Orleans. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir as we are in this room among friends and allies, but I offered a call to action. Let our cities not only condemn anti-Semitism, but actively cultivate understanding. Let us lead with clarity and courage, and let us build partnerships that extend beyond our borders. We all share a responsibility to safeguard our residents. Let us create communities where the dignity of every person is protected, not just in principle, but in practice. May we move forward with conviction. May we support one another in this work. And may we build a future where every person, Jewish or not, can live with safety, belonging, and peace. I thank them for this honor. I thank them for the work that they were doing each and every day to confront hate and to strengthen our communities. And I want to thank each and every one of you, especially my council colleagues, for the immeasurable work that's been done on behalf of this community and the fight against anti-Semitism. So I just want to share that with all of you. Thank you. If you thought you were done listening to me talk, I still have a few more things to share with you. I'm going to get to it, and then we will get down to business. As we enjoy the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, we can't forget that many members of our community are facing many challenges this year. If you're able, please consider supporting the Moraine Township and West Deerfield Township food pantries. The city is hosting collection boxes at City Hall and the Public Service Center, which is at 1150 Half Day Road. Donations of unopened and unexpired food and household essential items can be dropped off during regular walk-in business hours, Tuesdays through Fridays, 8 till 5 here at City Hall, 7:30 till 4:30 at the Public Service Center. Monetary and gift card donations are also appreciated. These can be donated directly to the townships. I'm going to give you a phone number that you won't remember, but it's also listed on Google, 847-432-3240, or visit morainetownship.org to donate to Moraine Township. And then there's a phone number for West Deerfield Township, or you can visit westdeerfieldtownship.org to donate to West Deerfield Township. Also, the fire department, Bill in the back, thank you. Fire Department's Coats for Kids drive continues through February 1st. Your donations of new or gently used coats, boots, hats, gloves, and other winter items are deeply appreciated by families in need in our community. Last year, the Fire Department was able to donate over 400 articles of winter clothing. Thank you to the Fire Department for helping with that endeavor. We're also grateful to every person who helped support this year's Shop with a Cop drive. Thanks to your generosity, a family of 5 was able to enjoy a very special shopping spree with Detective Bonov, PBC Officer Stokes, and Administrative Services Officer Montemayor. Many thanks as well to the Highland Park Benevolent Association for coordinating the fundraising for this and several other initiatives throughout the year. That is it for the report from the mayor. Thanks for listening. Is there any business from the council? Yes,
Real quick,
Councilmember Center.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the Director of Public Works, Ron Bannon, and his entire staff. I think there were some emails going around the council as well, but an
Right.
incredible job with the snow that we've received so far, and the streets look amazing, and you guys are on top of it, so thank you so much for overseeing that phenomenal work.
Absolutely. That's. Thank you to the plow crew. City Manager Newkirk, will you please provide the staff report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a few reports on behalf of staff. First is included in the packet is the year-end report for our 2025 major projects. Just for background purposes, each year we put together a list of major projects, which are initiatives outside of our day-to-day operation or just significant public-facing initiatives. These reports or these projects are based on the city's core priorities, and you can see the priorities that are listed there. In 2026, we added a new priority of vibrancy. And so the major projects reflect our priorities, our vision, as well as our values. And major projects are derived from a couple of different ways. So based on staff recommendations, council recommendations, public feedback, we put together that list. And then each quarter, we provide an update to the mayor and city council and post updates on our website. So we are concluding 2025 with 140 major projects. And I don't say that lightly because these are significant endeavors. And so individuals can review the list of projects, identify the work that was conducted, the approximate time frame that it was conducted, who the staff lead is for each initiative, and then an update on each one. Most of the projects are completed. Some are outside of our control. So for example, we talked at the committee of the whole about the Place of Remembrance. So that project is not complete, of course, but it is ongoing and will continue in 2026. And so invite the public to review the major projects, and if anyone has questions, they can certainly let us know. And then we will present in January the proposed 2026 work plan, which will include some carryover projects as well as new endeavors for the new year. And then second, wanted to provide an update on our snow and ice control plan. And so thank you, Councilmember Center, for leading that off with us. So we have had the quickest start to the snow season since 1978. We have had...
I remember that.
We were jumping off roofs back then. So we had about 20 inches of snow in Highland Park and the Chicagoland area so far, which is more snow than we experienced all of last winter. And so again, just huge thanks to Director Bannon, our entire Public Works crew. They start working before the snow even falls, really just to prepare equipment. We start brining. And then we continue with snow and ice control operations consistent with our snow and ice control plan, which is on our website, working around the clock. So really in excess of 12, 16-hour shifts. Our staff goes to bed for a couple of hours and then comes back just to make sure that that the streets are safe and our plan is carried out effectively and efficiently. So included on the slide is the city's website. Backspace Snow takes you directly to our snow and ice control plan and important information for the public. We list the 2 phone numbers there, so during business hours, if someone has a question, they can contact our Public Works Department. After hours, dispatch is available to take any questions or concerns, and if warranted, then they will call out Public Works accordingly. So the first 6 to 8 hours, all streets are plowed, so in excess of 130 miles. And then again, our snow removal operations take place until all streets are passable. We have 39 parking lots and other areas. We used 975 tons of salt just in these snow events that we've had already so far. So thanks to the support of the city council, we invested in a expanded dome. And so we have capacity for an entire snow season now in our dome, which works out well and provides us good comfort for quick access to salt when we need it. And then just a couple of other details on our snow and ice control plan. So as part of street operations where we do streets based on priority areas, we also clear 32 miles of sidewalk with every snow event. Those are sidewalks, for example, that in the downtown district, by the metro station, so really high priority, high traffic areas. And then after a 4-inch snowfall, consistent with our policy, we clear all the sidewalks in the community. And so very important to the public, we don't necessarily get down straight to pavement. We're not hand shoveling 132 miles of sidewalk, but we do clear them so it's passable. We also ask the public to help as well. And so, people are walking dogs or going on walks. And so, individuals are asked to make sure that there's a safe passageway for their family members and others using those public thoroughfares as well. And then in terms of our sidewalk program, we estimate, again, based on normal snowfall conditions, it takes us 24 to 48 hours to complete all the sidewalks. We did get some questions, so as the snow is still falling, people are saying, why aren't the streets clear? And so again, as the snow is falling, we are definitely plowing and addressing all areas, and we will continue working until all the areas are addressed accordingly. We do ask the public to make sure that fire hydrants are clear, and so that's part of our regular communication reminders to the public, and then we'll go through and check as well as appropriate. We also communicate that we have a snow shoveling program that is available to individuals, to seniors that need assistance, and people with disabilities. And so if people need assistance in that category, they're encouraged to contact us and we'll add them to the list. We're also looking for volunteers to help as part of that program. And so if people are interested in volunteering, please let us know. And then just a reminder as well, and this is included as part of our regular communication, is that on-street parking is prohibited from 2 to 6 a.m. from December until the end of March. And this is part of our snow and ice control operations, just to make sure the streets are able to be cleared from curb to curb. So we ask that cars are not parked on the street. And then depending on the amount of snow events that we have, we will clear the downtown district area or uptown, depending on when you move to Island Park, as well as the Ravinia Business District. And we do that basically overnight for maximum efficiency and also for public safety purposes. And so that snow is cleared out of the way and making sure that there's safe vehicular as well as pedestrian access to all the businesses in and around those 2 districts. And so the next time that we are clearing the districts is actually starting tomorrow morning. So our crew is starting at 3 a.m. and then they're going to work through the morning just to make sure that the snow is cleared again from the Central Business District as well as the Ravinia Business District. And then again, just a reminder, everyone, that is our website there for further information about our snow and ice control plan.
Great.
And then we have 28 items on the omnibus agenda for consideration. All have staff reports, all are recommended for approval. I understand a couple want to be pulled, so we'll just address that whenever you say so.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Great. Thank you, City Manager Newkirk. Assistant to the City Manager Palbitska, if you could introduce the next item, business from the public.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item on the agenda is business from the public. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on a topic that is within the city council's purview and jurisdiction, but is not listed in another location on the agenda. If you would like to speak about a matter that is listed on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that agenda item is called, and we will give you an opportunity to speak then. If your matter is on the omnibus consent agenda, please let us know if you'd like us to remove that matter from the consolidated list so that you can speak about it. Please be aware that business from the public is not intended to be a forum for open dialogue or engagement with members of the city council. Rather, it is intended as an opportunity to make comments to the city council. Please do not expect a response from anyone tonight. If appropriate, questions may be directed to the city manager or other city staff. All comments should be directed to the city council. All speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. We request that speakers refrain from throwing objects or using noisemakers, and that the public not applaud or make other comments after any speaker. We ask that everyone be respectful, civil, and non-repetitive.
Thank you. Good evening. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Karl Lambrecht. This is the second day of Hanukkah. I want to make my Jewish friends happy and go lucky and etc. And then Hanukkah ends, I believe, on the 22nd of December. That's my birthday.
Happy
It'll be the 93rd. Then on the 24th of December is the 93rd anniversary of my mother's death. And I want to wish the other people Merry Christmas. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Lots of time left over.
Absolutely. Wishing you a happy birthday. Any other members of the public wishing to be heard this evening? If not, we'll continue with our scheduled business. Items 1 through 28 have been grouped together for omnibus consideration. I know you wanted to pull item 9.
I want to pull 4, 6, 8, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9.
3, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So I'm seeking any others to be pulled? No.
It's 4 and 6.
Okay, so seeking a motion to approve items 1 and 2, 5, 7, 10 through 28.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on those items? Any from the public? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center.
Excuse me. Aye.
Councilmember Brookman. Aye. Councilmember Ross. Aye. Councilmember Tapia.
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
Aye.
Mayor Rotary.
Aye, 7 ayes, no nays. Items 1, 2, 5, 7, 10 through 28 have been approved. Item 3 is a resolution entering into an exterior improvement grant for Matchmaker Bookshop LLC at 1891 2nd Street.
I just wanted to make a comment on this. I'm fully supportive of our exterior grants, and I think they're crucial to the improvement of our businesses. I'm thrilled we offer them. I'm actually thrilled about this one, but we also have guidelines. And in this particular case, for this particular grant, there was no competitive bidding. And I understand there was a timeliness issue, and that's a problem. But I don't think we should be encouraging businesses to go after grants when in fact they don't follow the process. And I would say to staff also, who I assume also warn them of the proper processes, that what's important is we have these grants. These are taxpayer dollars that we're using to improve our communities. And if there's a guideline such as competitive bidding, that needs to be followed. And I would contrast it directly with something else that's on this agenda tonight, because item number 5, which I did not pull, did have competitive bidding. And there were different reasons why they ended up with the one particular grant, and whether it's the lowest bidder, and then we matched that money. So while I would say I really want Matchmaker Bookstore to have the money to help them improve, I'm a little disappointed that in fact they didn't get the competitive bids. And I don't know whether staff would recommend that in fact we see and double check that they would go out and get a bid now, so we know that the amount, that the 50% that we are gonna kick in is the correct amount. Without a competitive bidding process, we don't know if that's the right amount. And I understand they've been using a contractor, and that's great. But for us to turn over taxpayer dollars to improve a business, We have a process and they should follow it.
City manager?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Glitterworks. We certainly raised that concern as well. So our requirements do specify that applicants should get a minimum of 2 competitive bids, just to make sure that they're getting the lowest and pursuing the most responsible contractor. As it pertains to this specific application, the business owner is doing in excess of $500,000 of improvements and started that work before this grant application. And so that contract was kind of part of the overall improvements. And so although we talked to her about the importance of getting 2 bids to make sure you've got the most competitive rate, she felt that at that point in time, it almost would have been just disingenuous because the contractor's doing the balance of the work. And so it just didn't make sense at the time. So wholeheartedly, 100% agree with you that, and even for the own cities purchasing, competitive pricing is extremely critical for a number of reasons. But from our perspective, it made sense why she didn't. And then at this point, it just doesn't make sense because the work is done, that it almost doesn't seem appropriate to get another estimate now.
For that work.
But we're giving clear direction to
Yeah,
people.
100%, yes.
And this was a missed window, so to speak. The store is amazing, so, okay. Any other comments on 3? Nope, I'm seeking a motion to approve item 3.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center?
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia?
Aye.
Councilmember Littleworth?
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomberg?
Aye.
Mayor Rotering?
Aye, 7 ayes, no nays. Item 3 is approved. Item 4 is a resolution entering into an exterior improvement grant for CRG Ravinia LLC at 565 Roger Williams.
Did you want to go first or do you want me to?
I'll go first, sure. Thank you. So I wanted to see if there was an update with the CRG restaurant group. Is there someone here, or can you answer that, City Manager?
I don't think that they're present. No. So as the council knows, the CRG group, we did present this recommendation at a committee of the whole meeting and sought your policy feedback before placing this item on the agenda. At this time, they are still interested in moving forward with that location that's reflected at 565 Roger Williams in the Ravinia District. They want to make sure that all their financing is in place. And so that's why they're looking for really confirmation that they have these grant funds because of the significant investment that's needed at this specific location. And so the grant funds as part of this program would not be issued to them until they actually were doing the work and requested a reimbursement of expenses. So if, for example, they did not move forward with this location, we definitely want them in Highland Park. And so, then they could pursue another location, but these grant funds would not be transferable to a new location and they wouldn't be issued at the onset of signing a lease. Again, it's based on actual work completed with receipts and then requesting reimbursement.
And would you say those comments apply to 6 as well, or is that?
Yes, that's why.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, so I just want to make sure we're
Yeah.
being efficient with our time. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just
One
had a
more,
little.
sorry, one more follow-up. So is this money, though, that we're approving tonight, is that earmarked, though? Is it for 2026? So is this money that we can't offer as part of the program?
It would be, yes. I mean, it
Okay.
would be issued in 2026 under that budget.
Okay. Just because I have just some reservations since I haven't seen any work or anything done on this property yet. And I've also had heard that it was, businesses in that area have said they've seen it advertised as someone leasing this property. So I had some concerns. That's
Yeah,
why
again,
I was asking.
they haven't started, they haven't moved forward because again, they're just trying to make sure all their financing is in place before actually moving forward.
But it sounds like these grants would not be provided until we had plans and bids and all of the.
Yes.
So you're not contributing money to what used to be a dry cleaner on Roger Williams?
Correct. Right.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Any other
Okay,
questions?
no, so
Well,
it was
I-
just to my point, though, taking that money away, technically, we're earmarking it for 2026. So if like another business had applied in 26, we're technically saying, oh, this money is going to CRG, therefore this other business in Highland Park can't apply and get this
Potentially, but we have not depleted funds for these grants in the past. So, and we would certainly, as our commitment to the council, because we know this is a priority of yours, if, for example, we did deplete funds, we would certainly let you know, and then we could look at alternate funding, or alternate budget allocations, and then move them over to this area if it was deemed appropriate.
So I have 2
I-
points to
Actually,
add.
hang on one second. I just want to remind this group that we have a very clear set of parameters for which these grants can be used. It's not just anybody first in who tosses an application over the threshold. We have a requirement of so many different other businesses, so many other years in business, so many other, dollars of profit. So it's not just a fly-by-night showing up, going, hand over your money. So I just want to be sure people who are watching understand what these grants are. Now I will call on you.
Okay, that's accurate with regard to the food and beverage, you're absolutely right. But for the exterior grants, the reason they were capped at the 20,000 per year, and we were making an exception for this group and doing all 5 years, so they would not be able to come back to us for 5 years, to Councilmember Bruckman's point, we're lumping $100,000 into this that they're counting on. So one of my concerns is I don't want to end up in another situation, well, we have a GC and we're doing all of our work, including our exterior, and so we aren't getting multiple bids. So number one, I want to make sure that that work is contracted for separately and that there are competitive bids for that. So that goes to our earlier thing with Matchmaker. Secondarily, to the council member's point, we usually only budgeted for exterior, if I'm not wrong, $100,000 per year. If we are earmarking the full 100 to them, and we have heard throughout the community that they may be looking elsewhere or this project's not going up, I don't really want to block those funds for the year. Now, we may find out in March that in fact they're going elsewhere, okay? And then that would free up the funds. But I think we're putting the cart before the horse, and that's a little bit, it's not the right order. It's, again, not doing it the way we set up this
Right,
grant
right.
program.
So we don't necessarily, although we have line items, we've got the Business Development Division, which is part of the department of the city manager's office, which has a larger budget. And then this is all in the general fund, which is our largest operating fund. So although, yes, we budget a certain allocation for food and beverage grants, the boutique incentive grant, and so forth, it's not necessarily,
I mean, we do have a line item
Yeah.
that says $100,000, and it's first come, first served. So 5 businesses come to us and they want an exterior grant. And in theory, we are holding up the entire budget for every other business if we do this right now. And frankly, because it is so amorphous at this point, I would be much more comfortable with not giving the 100,000 at this juncture. And I know we're not giving it, but not even putting it aside, appropriating it. And I would be much more comfortable with 40 so that I know that other businesses can come to us in the near future and our money's not all tied up in a commitment that we don't even know if it's going forward. And I know we won't lose the money if they don't go forward.
But I think it's important to note, this is fungible. Like, and we saw this because we had money that was appropriated for the exterior grant that I believe several people on this council moved to support Oktoberfest in Ravinia. So it's green and it's cash, and I think we can stay flexible. And I think for a group that is very, very determined to bring more restaurants into Highland Park, you don't want to start playing fast and loose with, you can count on this, no, you can't count on this. I just think this is, we can vote for it, and if you decide down the road that these guys aren't making movements fast enough, then we can let them know. But I think it's a matching grant. It's not going to be in concrete without anybody else having the ability to access it. Councilmember Center?
I agree, Mayor. I think, and we're also speculating on their ability to move forward or not, and/or speculating on other potential applicants that may or may not come forward. So I think it's a dangerous game to start playing.
Thank you.
Also, Councilmember Littlewer, just to comment on your multiple bid concern, totally agreed. I think it's critical for us to do that. However, I could see the counterpoint to that, particularly in a large build-out, where there's going to be economies of scale for a GC to do X, Y, Z, and it probably will be cheaper for them to bake that into part of a larger project versus going out to a sole subcontractor. And so do we want to set a precedent for providing, we want to get the best ROI on those dollars.
Right.
Right? So I think we should just be a little bit careful to make sure that we're not mandating something that is counterproductive to what the goal of the process
You're
is.
completely right, but we are requiring them before they get a grant to do some homework. And so if in fact the
Yep.
GC can do it much cheaper,
Yep.
God bless.
Yep.
But if they can't take the time to get another competitive bid,
I'm with
I
you.
have a problem, then I don't see why we should turn over money to them.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Bloomberg?
So I'm going to reiterate something that I brought up regarding these grants to CRG when we discussed this in the Committee of the Whole, and I want it to be a part of the record. I'm going to vote against this. Before I explain why, even though CRG isn't here, I do want to say, I hope they come to Ravinia. I hope they open. It's a very exciting project. I think it will contribute directly to the vibrancy of both the Ravinia Business District and the city of Highland Park in general. The people who are involved in this project have a great deal of institutional knowledge within their own areas of expertise, and it's a very promising project, but I'm opposed to this for the same reason that I've been opposed to the entire boutique incentive program. But that's particularly true with respect to this program, with this application, which applied and moved forward with a business plan desirous of opening in Highland Park when they didn't know that we had this program. So they were already determined to open in Highland Park because they felt it was economically advantageous to run this business in Highland Park. And what I've been saying about our boutique incentive program is that it has a potential to encourage somebody to open a business in Highland Park without adequate economic grounds to do so, just because the city is going to pay them to come to Highland Park. And while I understand the purpose behind this is to improve vibrancy and to try to attract some businesses to contribute to the mix, we now know there are businesses based on decent business acumen and business models that want to open here without the city of Highland Park investing. And Councilmember Center, you talked about getting our best ROI, return on investment. I don't believe a municipality should be investing directly in private enterprises, and that's really what this is. That's why I'm opposed to it. This grant is being given because we ran out of money in the incentive program. So we're by a majority of the council, we're shoehorning this in and now making them satisfy certain elements of a different kind of grant program. I am not in favor of asking them to get competitive bids where they're already working with major contractors. They're doing a preliminary startup. They have their own economic incentive to get the best possible bid from the best possible contractor. This is very different than an existing business that comes in and says, we need a little help improving our exterior or expanding our interior a little bit. This is not a business that has an established business background. We shouldn't be granting them this much money in this manner.
You've seen the exterior of that building, though.
I have, but they agreed to do that on their own without our help already.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilmember Ross?
Thank you, Mayor. I am voting for this. I'm supporting it. It is incredibly hard to open restaurants and stay open. I would like to see CRG open. I was extremely excited by the concept when I first heard about it. I hope that they do open on Roger Williams. I think it'll be a larger restaurant and a boon to the Ravinia Business District and to Highland Park as a whole. I'm willing to be flexible on this, even as I respect all the points that my colleagues have raised. I'm simply, as one city council person aiming for Highland Park to look as business-friendly as possible. I've had issues with, building out, with all due respect to our property owners, their spaces too, and putting money toward, those build-outs, but I've supported those grants, and including one that got, unanimous support. So things aren't always perfect, but I support this.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any from the public? Nope. Is there a motion to approve? I'm going to do items 4 and 6 together.
Perfect.
Yeah, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center?
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman?
No.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia?
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer?
No.
Councilmember Bloomberg?
No.
Mayor Rotering?
Aye. With 4 ayes to 3 nays, items 4 and 6 are approved. Item 8 is an ordinance waiving enforcement of sections 33.001 and 33.005 of the Highland Park Code of 1968 as amended concerning appointments to various boards, commissions, and advisory groups. Council Member Littlewer.
First of all, I really want to thank all the people who serve on our commissions and our advisory groups and our boards. They are wonderful. I also want to thank this council, but especially the mayor, city manager, and a staffer for all the work they put in to try and make the appointments on an annual basis. We have parameters in terms of how long someone can serve, and we also have parameters on a lot of people who want to serve on these different commissions. And because of that, I feel they should be adhered to very, very strictly, and I don't want to make any exceptions. And so for that reason, I will not support this board, even though I know how much accommodation has been made both for transitional purposes, educating new board members, but I think it's time to always bring new and younger and wonderful residents onto these commissions, especially since so many people want to serve. So I will not support this slate.
Okay, thank you. I think I need to respond to that, given that this is my group of appointments. And I'll just say that for the vast majority of these appointments, we are sticking with the parameters. In 1 or 2 instances, we are continuing with a chair or a vice chair because members of that commission or that advisory group did not want to be the chair or the vice chair. So in an effort to have some sort of continuity in leadership, we've extended people's terms for a year. And that's what Councilmember Littlewer is talking about. I think it's important also to recognize that several of our commissions were turned into advisory groups. And the exact purpose of that was to make it so that more people could participate, that we did have fewer constraints in terms of terms and term limits and so forth. So I appreciate your comments.
And by the way, it's the overwhelming majority that are absolutely
Within that parameter.
I
think we
really
have,
want to
like,
be clear about that.
2 exceptions. But that notwithstanding, I respect and hear you. And with that, I'm seeking a motion to approve item 8. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center?
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia?
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer?
Present.
Councilmember Bloomberg?
Aye.
Mayor Rotering?
Aye. 6 ayes, 1 present. Item 8 is approved. Item 9 is a city advisory group board and commission appointment, reappointment for scheduled vacancies, and appointments to chair and vice chair with terms beginning in 2026. I am seeking a motion to approve this, but Councilmember Littlewer has a comment to make first.
It's the same comment.
Same comment. All right. Do I have a motion to approve item 9?
Yes, same motion.
So is the-
Same
there's
Well,
second.
not same motion, but I move to approve.
Do I have a second for item 9?
Second.
Thank you. We will call the vote.
Councilmember Center?
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia?
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer?
Present.
Councilmember Bloomberg?
Aye.
Mayor Rotering?
Aye, 6 ayes, 1 present. Item 9 is approved, and I, again, just want to thank our community volunteers for your service on behalf of the community. They get no compensation, but they do get the joy of sitting through a lot of meetings, so we appreciate them tremendously. Thank you. We've gone through the items removed from omnibus vote consideration. Other business this evening, I suspect the reason why you're here. Items A, B, and C are all concerning 1632, 1640, and 1646 Second Street. Item A is a resolution approving a plat of re-subdivision for those addresses. Item B is an ordinance granting a special use permit for a planned development and improving an inclusionary housing plan. Item C is a resolution approving the development agreement related thereto. We have talked about this previously, but we will have a presentation from Community Development Director Joel Fontaine, and we will have ample opportunity for public comment if you so desire. Director Fontaine.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you mentioned, this item before you is for final action. It was directed by council that staff draft approval documents with appropriate provisions. There are a few changes, though, that I'd like to go through this evening. We recommend adoption of approval documents for preliminary and final plan development, final plat of re-subdivision, and design review with modifications from City Code for a 5-story, 19-unit multifamily development on 2nd Street. The council is considering 4 matters that are in the packet as previously presented at your October 6th meeting. At that meeting, council directed staff to draft approval documents by a vote of 7-0. And council requested that the applicants consider the public benefit offered and the project's green space overall. In terms of public benefit, we have 2 elements of relief that require public benefit. As we know and have talked about previously, not all elements of relief trigger public benefit. So the 2 that do for this project are height and lot coverage. Height, 13 feet of relief to allow a 64-foot building with 5 stories. The requirement's 51 feet and 4 stories. Lot coverage, 1.48 times the lot coverage at 49%. ARO zoning district requirement max of 33. Other relief, non-public benefit related, had to do with the pedestrian entrance, lighting at the property line, and foundation landscaping. In terms of public benefits, the standard for approval is that all proposed public benefits shall be commensurate with the zoning relief requested by the applicant and proportional to the anticipated impact of the proposed plan development on adjacent properties and land uses and on the community at large. Public benefit itself means that it's an amenity provided in the form of an improvement, donation, or dedication that is not otherwise required as part of the development process and that serves the residents of the plan development and the community at large. Okay, so the applicant proposed initially, with their initial application that went through the board, the Plan Commission and Housing Commission and came to you in form of recommendation, a donation of $100,000 to the Housing Trust Fund. 2 additional public benefits were put forth in an applicant letter that offered as an either-or choice, but has since been further revised to offer both. And I defer to the applicant to state as such here for the record. Those were a donation of $25,000 to the city's place of remembrance and parkway landscaping improvements along a portion of 2nd Street in front of the building. That parkway improvement in front of the building would be maintained by the property owners. And subject to a non-exclusive license agreement. It's all part of the permit process. Note, the sidewalk replacement shown on the final engineering is not considered a public benefit. Rather, is considered a requirement by staff for this development due to the nature of the construction that would be undertaken to do this development. The sidewalk will need to be replaced in its standard. Okay, the public benefit newly proposed is this parkway landscaping public benefit. As you can see here, there would be a drop-off area along 2nd Street, in front of the building, and the parkway area that is not utilized for the actual vehicle drop-off will be greatly enhanced in terms of its landscaping. We do have additional information regarding traffic study, and I just want to review for council that the conclusions of the traffic study found that the traffic generated can be accommodated by the area roadway system parking spaces adequate in accommodating the estimated peak parking demand, and the total estimated traffic volume will be limited and further reduced due to the proximity to the Metro commuter rail station. Revised traffic study found that the impact study adequately represents the traffic anticipated to be generated by the proposed development under construction, and the proposed development itself, the Walton, and by the under construction Walbright project at 650 Walnut Street, just a couple of blocks down the road on Walnut, as well as the general area growth over the next 5 years. So our traffic engineering third party reviewed that additional addendum, if you will, to this traffic study. Crash data was also included. 2023 to 2025, there were 34 crashes in the area over this 3-year period, 2 involving pedestrians at the Laurel and 2nd Street intersection, as depicted here by the blue circle. There were 6 accidents, 2 involved pedestrians. That's what that means there. The site, for reference, is outlined in yellow below. So Walnut Street, you have the 9, the 2. Laurel, you have 14 and 6 shown here. There were also 2 at the building there that is Walnut Place, formerly the Affordable Housing Project at Walnut Place. Staff recommends adoption of the approval documents granting the relief proposed in the preliminary and final plan development, plat of re-subdivision and design review with modifications for this development. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Any questions from the council or comments? No. We have received.
One item, Madam Mayor, if I may
Yes.
interject. The applicant did provide in the packet an either-or option with regard to the public benefit. Had changed it verbally in a conversation with him. I would recommend that the council inquire whether or not both will be offered or either-or is still on the table. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
That was a question that everybody had, so I guess, I'm sorry. If you could please approach, I think there's just a question about whether the public benefit that was offered was either or was an and. Good evening.
He's right here. Good evening, Mayor and council members. At the last meeting, it was discussed that our understanding was that some of the members felt that the public benefit wasn't enough, and it was proposed that we do some enhancements to the green space surrounding the building. Since we felt that most of the actual site was very heavily landscaping, we felt that the front of the building along 2nd Street was an area that we could enhance with more green space. And we also felt that there's a connection between this is a connection between the building and downtown. And there's many areas within the downtown on Central Avenue that the parkway is landscape. There's some planters, there's different sorts of landscaping. We felt it was a nice connection since this is the main connection between our building and the downtown. So this is the overall concept that we had in mind for that parkway along 2nd Street. And initially, we felt that we were going to propose that as an option, and then we felt that we were going to offer the $25,000 for the place of remembrance as another option, and let the council decide. And we had a conversation with staff, and they thought that it was going to be hard to pick just one of those options, and we understood that concern, and we are confident and comfortable offering both the landscaping in front of the building and the $25,000 to the place of remembrance, in addition to the $100,000 to the housing trust.
Great, thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. At this time, we just want to welcome our neighbors, and if you have any comments or questions you'd like to share, you're welcome to come forward. Please state your name for the record.
Jana Hill. I
Welcome.
think I've been sworn in the past.
There's no swearing in. We're delighted to have you.
It's okay.
Welcome, Jana Hill.
All right.
We'll start the clock at 3 again. Sorry.
Thank you. 37% is the median lot coverage for similar neighboring properties. Many are nearer to the 33% code maximum. 49% is the principal building's lot coverage for the Walton. This is nearly 50% over the code maximum. 30% is the additional property coverage from large porches, decks, and roof overhangs. I know you just saw the picture, but you will note that even with the setback, there is a large overhang over the top of the building. These things contribute to 30% additional lot coverage, reducing open space. 79% of open sky and unobstructed views that we have today are blotted out by the Walton. Fountain grass and boxwoods in an already existing parkway does nothing to alleviate the real loss of open space, light, and appearance. Only a real reduction in the footprint and a redesign of the accompanying extensions will correct the bulk and intensity that's been placed on our narrow street. We moved to this neighborhood because it evoked Home Alone and not a new version of Chicago Hinge. Projects built reasonably to code could still provide the benefits that council is seeking, such as supporting the tax base, jobs, and attracting people to the community, and a developer would still profit. Today is about choices. Mr. Mueller chose to submit a project intentionally exceeding building codes, the most to date of the other properties nearby. City Council can choose to vote no on a project that greatly exceeds bulk and intensity codes. Lastly, we the people choose elected officials we trust to protect our interest. And we will choose again those who do. It is not too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Any other members of the public who want to be heard?
Dale Cahotis, I've been sworn in before. And I'm going to speak mostly for the trees. While I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the council, as I have each time the Walton has been on the agenda, and I believe you have heard me and my neighbors, I don't think you have listened. Aside from the Housing Commission, which listened and did not approve this project until Fulton developers made changes to the affordable units, our concerns have been ignored. Fulton has received variances which will degrade our quality of life. We will be looking at a large, unattractive building that does not fit the character of our neighborhood. We have seen that Fulton can build attractive condominiums. We just aren't getting one. As I said, I do want to speak on behalf of the trees on the property, which I look at every day. A tree preservation plan is required. However, there is already concern about that, given the language in the staff report in section B from the city forester. And this is a quote: "A comprehensive tree preservation plan will be required as part of the permitting for any development of this nature. If this plan is adhered to by the applicant and we do not have any compliance issues throughout the construction process, the Parkway linden tree has a good chance of surviving." I hear a lot of skepticism in that. Fulton Developers does not have a good track record on preserving trees. We've lost 2 heritage trees in the neighborhood because of Fulton Development. And also, I've said before, I'm concerned about how this is going to be staged, and I was told that we wouldn't know about the staging until after the development was approved, if it was. But I am concerned again about the trees and the traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dennis Siegel. I live on the 4th floor at the Arbors. My apartment would be directly facing the Walton. Can you put up a photo of the Walton? It's one of the pictures that you had when Mr. Muller was here. That's it. That's fine. Fulton Development has done an admirable job of previous buildings they've constructed. The Laurel residences are quite attractive. The Park Sheridan is relatively attractive. The building on Oakwood that he chose to call One Highland Park, don't know why he's allowed to grab that title, but he did. That also is an attractive building. The Walton will be directly across from the Walbright. Joel, you said that it would be 2 or 3 blocks apart. They are directly across from each other. And they are very, very similar in design. Supposedly, the idea of the black horizontal siding is supposed to be a visual setback of some sort in order to fool the people who walk by or drive by so that they won't realize that the building is as tall as it is, 64 feet instead of 51 feet. Also, it's supposed to give them the impression that it is not taking up 80% of the lot. One of the reasons it's taking up 80% and is drastically overbuilt is because of the large exterior terraces. Those terraces are room size. Those are not what you would call balconies. Mr. Muller is asking for that additional space in order to increase the size of the units and the profits that he's about to make, at the detriment of at least 8 apartments that face that horrendous-looking black horizontal siding. If instead the council strips away these room-size open terraces, remember they have roofs on them, and that's why you're at the 80% factor. It would drastically bring the building back into what your zoning regulations state. The Walbright across the street proves my point. It's drastically overbuilt and overshadows what's there.
Thank you, Mr. Siegel. Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to be heard?
Hi, I'm Kathy Thisson. I live at 1633 Unit 103, The Arbors. I've spoken before about the traffic concerns I have, just a couple of updates. Thank you for mentioning that this idea that the buildings are a couple blocks away is untrue. Literally, when you come up from the Walbright's underground garage, you come right up and face this new proposed Walton building and could just drive right into it. So they are right there. It is, I had to walk this weekend. I decided with my partner, 2 neighbors, he and I, who live off the alley that faces Green Bay, their apartments, And just looking at what's going to happen because of the narrow Walnut Street traffic we already have with double parking in front of Walnut Place, which is not just affordable housing, let's be real, it's senior citizen affordable housing. And it is, they have their caretakers and buses and things constantly congesting a half-size street compared to the street 1 block to the north, which there is a sheet that was sent to Jana that I'm sure the committee has. There is it is 35 crashes, not 34 crashes, and 2 pedestrians. And just as a reminder, selfishly here, within my first month of buying my unit here in the Arbors, I was slammed in the arterial intersection by a car that did not stop at a stop sign, which we are missing stop signs off of Walnut, and $16,000 in hospital visits and all kinds of stuff happened. And then just a year and a half ago, walking as a pedestrian, I was hit by a car and my dog fell. So I know what this is like. There is a Lake County 5-year transportation that you might be aware of that just came out in July 8th of this year. $865 million for the Division of Transportation to enhance. They have 5 major goals, but the second one, if you pull it up, is all about safety, pedestrians. I'm wondering if Highland Park enhanced safety and mobility for all users, including motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists. And I'm wondering if we have any say in this or could carve out some a traffic study to look at realistically, the Metro is not saving things. I live there, my partner is there every day on it, but I would love to see if we could piggyback on the Lake County, see if they could really do a traffic study on Walnut, because it's dangerous every time I go. They speed, and there are no stop signs going from the
Thank you.
east and west.
Thank you so much. Any other members of the public wishing to be heard this evening? Okay. Any comments or questions from the council members? Councilmember Center.
Yeah, Mr. Mueller, can you just respond to the comments around some of your previous developments and impact to heritage trees? Some of the potential impact to heritage trees as a result of your ongoing projects.
We had a project our first project in Highland Park was on Hickory Street and Laurel, called Laurel Court, and there was a heritage tree there. And that project was built in 2007, and the heritage tree is still thriving and doing very well in Laurel. There was a heritage tree in front of One Highland Park, and we set the building away 25 feet away from the building, from the tree. You can see the setback of One Highland Park is much further than what's required, because there's a big backyard in the back of the building. And maybe 2 years after the building was built, the tree didn't survive. And sometimes these trees are 200 years old, and they are very old trees, and they even though we did everything possible to maintain, that tree didn't make it. In the case of the Wallbright, there is a heritage tree that we decided to maintain. We had discussions when this project was approved to locate the driveway of Walnut instead of LaSalle to protect this tree. We've been doing everything we could. We're working with an arborist for the last 3 years, doing hormone treatments, doing pruning of the tree, doing all sorts of treatments which we're required to do. And we're hoping that that tree is going to survive. We've made an effort to protect it. The tree had an asphalt driveway abutting the tree. It had a garage, a house, just a few feet away from the tree. I think that right now it's in much better shape than what it was before we started construction, and we're hoping the tree will survive, and we'll find out 3 years from now. And those are the only 3 instances that we were dealing with heritage trees in our 7 projects.
Thank you for that.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
I just want to follow up on that. I recall that there was damage to a heritage tree or some tree that was supposed to be preserved with a recent development. I know that you had interaction with the city about that. There was some sort of problem. I don't know if you know the details of that, if you can address that, and if you can provide some sort of assurance that you'll avoid that in the construction of what's proposed this evening.
Yes. So we had an incident where we had to build the scaffolds to do the masonry work, and there were some branches that were interfering with the scaffolds. So we started building the masonry up to the 2nd floor, and we consulted with the arborist from Patrick Harrington from Davie to let us know how to cut those. We had to cut 2 branches because we couldn't build the scaffolds. We couldn't do the masonry work. And we hired a professional company to cut those 2 branches. And there's still some, it seems like the forester wasn't happy about the way those branches were cut. We felt we followed the steps, and this is an issue that we're still trying to work out with the forester. There's even further enhancements that we have done to the tree, and we're going to follow the recommendations. We didn't try to do anything that we were not allowed to do. We were not trying to, we've done everything possible for trees to protect that tree, and we're going to continue doing so.
Okay. I appreciate your being forthcoming about that and describing the process that occurred. As we go forward with this process, with this project, although you clearly followed the steps that you were required to and still wound up with some issues with the forester, I'd like to suggest if you have the capacity to do it, if you run into an issue like that where your construction requires some sort of impact with one of the trees, that you consult with the forester before you consult with Davie. They're a reputable tree company. I use them for my own backyard, but and they're certainly an excellent consultant to use, but start with the forester first to let him know in advance. That, I think, would make me a little more comfortable.
That's pretty clear. That's going to be our direction moving forward.
The other thing yeah, go ahead.
If I may, Mayor?
Sure.
We drafted into this development agreement a requirement just like that. You'll see it in the tree preservation section.
Great. So you've already agreed to that. Thank you.
And they've agreed to it, yeah.
I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to address was the inclusionary housing plan, which you have met and has been approved by the Housing Commission, and I appreciate that. You've had a great run in terms of your development, in terms of meeting the inclusionary zoning requirements of the City of Highland Park, and I want to recognize that. The one downside that you've made up for to some degree, and that sits well with me, because the units that you develop tend to be larger and you wind up with fewer square units per acre than the zoning permits, we wind up with fewer inclusionary units because the requirement is based on the units you actually are going to build. So we wind up with fewer units, but having made a contribution to the inclusionary zoning, the housing trust, that's been a nice solution to that, although I think the council is going to discuss how to address that in the future with other developments. I appreciate your willingness to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was a question that came up from the public about how construction would be staged. Do you have any kind of back-of-the-envelope explanation of how it would be staged, given that the Wallbright is still also under construction at this point?
Yes, what we've done at the Wallbright and on prior projects is as soon as the first trade to go into the building is the excavator, and there's pretty much one excavator and one excavator machine working at the site, one person and one vehicle. Once we start, as soon as we're done with the underground garage, and that's also one trade, which is the concrete company, we put the precast over the garage, and as soon as we're able to use the garage for parking, that's where we try to take advantage of the actual parking on site to try to keep most of the traffic off the streets. There's no parking on 2nd Street, so that's what we've done. And otherwise, the workers try to carpool and try to use public parking that's nearby, but we haven't had any issues where that's the way that we try to control parking as best as we can, parking on site.
Mayor,
Thank you, yes.
if I can also point to a provision in our agreement that we've beefed up in light of comments. There's a section on construction and traffic management plan. It requires the owner to prepare and submit for review and approval by the city's Director of Public Works, a plan for the construction of the property. No building permit can be issued by the city until this plan is approved. No construction can take place until the plan is approved. And it talks, and it has to deal with subjects like the schedule and traffic, routes for construction traffic, machinery, screening of areas, hours of operation, location of parking of construction vehicles, and so on.
Great, thank you.
So it's section, 5F.
Thank you.
Yeah, we typically have a meeting before we get the building permit with city staff, our superintendent, and building engineers to go through those logistics, sidewalk closures, all sorts of things that we need to address before we get the permit.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Littlewood?
Thank you. You know, there's been a lot of thought that went into the green and the landscape, and I really appreciate what you're doing up front to make it feel more green, because this is covering so much. But there's something that was said tonight that I really hadn't considered before, and I just wanted to ask you, are the porches on, or the patios, terraces, thank you, on the first floor, how many of them are there? In other words, around the perimeter where people have.
How many terraces are on the first floor? There's 2 units that have patios.
Only 2?
3 units.
And I mean, are they really, are they at all structural? Are they built in alignment with an overhang? Is there a reason that they have to be so deep and take up so much green? Because this is the first time hearing of that, even though I did see all the pictures. And I'm just wondering if that isn't a way to.
So those patios have landscaping above them, and those patios are not covered. And there's some information that will say that it's not accurate. The building doesn't have 80% lot coverage, it's 49. We showed the slides at prior meetings, which was consistent with we had a list of 20 or 25 projects that were approved within the last 10 or 15 years, and that was the lot coverage consistent with everything else.
So the 49% includes the terraces?
No, that's a footprint of the building.
That's the footprint.
The terraces is part of the landscaping, it's part of the outdoor space of the project. And those are not covered.
But that's why I'm saying, but there's still like a surface instead of green, and because they reach out so far.
They do have green space above them. If we look at the landscape plan, let's see if I can.
If we could see that, I think that would be good for everyone to see. Or maybe it is only 3. Okay.
So it's hard to point, but all these areas, all landscaping, everything you see green is landscaping, and it's part of the terrace. So it just happens to be, we've done that at Park Sheridan, has a terrace as well in the back of the building over the garage, which is landscaped. We have that at Lower Court, which was done in 2007. The whole courtyard is a landscape courtyard. So they become like rooftop areas, which are landscaped. We've done that at One Highland Park, has one in the back as well. So most of our buildings have landscaped patios and terraces. And they are part of the beautiful landscaping of the building. And we have those walls, I think we explained last time, to give privacy to those first floor units, privacy, and a sense of security as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll say that, you know, PDC has, you've been before PDC a number of times, and they did support this. And I guess I would comment that, I mean, at this point, you've got a building clad in stone, and there's been sort of I've mentioned this before, a similar look to your buildings that I'm hoping, and maybe this is not the place to say it, but I'm hoping you'll consider, you know, brick, or just because you're building a lot in Highland Park, and I think, you know, the council is, you've successfely built in Highland Park, and I think that's encouraged more development in Highland Park. But I'm concerned just that the buildings, there's a similarity to the buildings in terms of the appearance, and I hope for, you know, more variation in the future. You know, I realize that brick is probably more expensive to build with, but more labor intensive, but as I said, I just hope for, to the extent that you are building a lot in Highland Park, that there be more variation in the projects. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'm seeking a motion to approve items A, B, and C taken in omnibus together as they're related to the same subject matter.
So moved.
Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center.
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman.
Aye.
Councilmember Ross.
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia.
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
Aye.
Mayor Rotering.
Aye, 7 ayes, no nays. Items A, B, and C are approved. And I just want to thank the neighbors for your time, for your emails, and for your comments, both this evening and in prior weeks. Thank you very much. Item D is a resolution ratifying a minor amendment to plan development for 1950 and 1964 Sheridan Road. I'm presuming people have read the packet, and curious to know if there are any comments or questions on item D. Any from the public? I'm seeking a motion to approve item D.
So moved.
Second?
Will the clerk please call the vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman.
Aye.
Councilmember Ross.
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia.
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomberg.
Aye.
Mayor Rotering.
Aye, that's 7 ayes, no nays. Item D is approved. I am seeking a motion to go into closed session for purposes of purchase or lease of property.
And litigation and personnel.
Yes, I have that as
Litigation
well.
and personnel.
So I'm going to move to go into closed session for purposes of discussing the purchase or lease of property and to discuss pending litigation pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C5 and 11.
And
personnel,
Personnel
yeah.
one.
Oh, and which is 5C1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the vote?
Councilmember Center.
Aye.
Councilmember Brockman.
Aye.
Councilmember Ross.
Aye.
Councilmember Tapia.
Aye.
Councilmember Littlewer. Councilmember Bloomberg.
Aye.
Mayor Rotering.
Aye, 7 ayes, no nays. We will go into closed session. Thank you.